TBS Electronics in the Netherlands, I got beef to pick with you. These are not good instructions.
Well, I don't know what you want from me.
Horrible directions.
Listen, I don't really give a no. I give a
What's up, guys? Today is a very exciting day in the Bookmoto universe because today we are going to focus on fixing the interior here. So just a couple things that need to happen here. I'm very excited to do it. We're going to install some instrumentation here. We'll have to build a cutout for that. We need to hook up the key, and we need to hook up this piece here. So actually it shouldn't be too hard. I've already got the wire started right here. I just need to splice in some more wire and go up into these two spots here. So that should be pretty easy. The harder part will be implementing this entire what is this? TBS Electronics e-Xpert Pro. What I'm hoping to accomplish is to build an adapter from the old speedometer to the new battery instrumentation. The first thing I'm going to do is cut out a piece of plastic here. I'll do this by laying the transparent plexiglass over the top side of this speedometer holder. And this first outline that I'm drawing is a loose outline since I'm going to file this plastic down anyways. You can see I'm making 3 lines here. The outer line is a sloppy approximation of where I'm going to cut. The middle line is an approximation of where I'll make my cut, and the inner line is what looks to be dead on where I should make my cut. Now, due to variations in the thickness of the saw or, just imperfections in my hand, my instinct is to make the first cut at the medium line here and then file the adapter down to the exact size. So I'm going to focus on this middle mark here because, good God, if I cut this too close, I'm going to have to start all over again. Great, and now I'm using my straight edge to mark the first cut lines. What up, coping saw? Fun fact, I'm left-handed, so I've got to flip it over. Oh dear. That's not great. Well, ginger snaps. I broke it while sawing. That's okay. It failed outside the line, so I can just keep going. No harm, no foul. Okay, just now I filed away the protrusion from the crack, so this piece is square again, and there's no more evidence of the break. So I'm test fitting it, and already it fits that way. So now I want to see if it fits this way. Oh my goodness. We're getting very close. Not yet, but very close. I'm very pleased that it's fitting this way. Yeah, that's good. And don't forget, I'll have to round the edges. Okay, well, let's keep going. That's very smooth. All right, let's go check it out one more time. Oh, we are very close. Yeah, not yet. Not yet.
I must admit, it takes a lot to get me excited. But this gets me excited. Perfect fit. Obviously I have to clean it off since my grubby fingers were all over it, but my God, what a good fit. I will probably super glue that in when I'm done. But right now, we're going to set up to find the center, mark it, and drill it with my jumbo drill press. Alright, I marked the center, and I'm ready to drill, baby, drill. And now, time for the grand finale. Woo, watch those fingers. Fingers. Yeehaw! Let's do it. If you haven't figured out by now, I love to file. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna get this nice in the center, and we're gonna drill it out. Okay, here we go. Use recklessly on my knee so as to cut it.
I also like to live dangerously.
Okay, I figured that would happen. Okay, it definitely walked over. Okay, you're all done. Hey guys, today's adventure is going to be sending the signal cable up to the cab. So currently I've got a Cat 5 cable that's wired in to do some very low voltage measurements. I think it's 50 millivolts goes across the terminals to measure current, and we're going to send that signal up to the cab via this Cat 5 cable. So I'm going to have to take the shelf out, string it under and through the little hole into the cab, and then we'll wire it up inside to our digital display here, and that should do it for the cab area pretty much. So let's get started. Cool, let's get all the screws out. believe I've got that. Oh, sorry, I forgot to film it. Just went through here, through there. And so we're ready. Oh, man. Oops. Super glue that in. Cool. All right, so I'm just going to plug them in there and call it good. Okay. Well, my feeling is that I need to split this. That's a good spot to put it right there.
The reason this is so hard is I don't have a wire stripper for a 24 gauge wire. This one only goes down to 22 gauge. And because it takes me so long to get to the hardware store and back, let's just use an X-Acto knife. I mean, what could go wrong? Okay, time to insert the wires into the battery monitor. TBS Electronics in the Netherlands. I got beef to pick with you. These are not good instructions. So first, this and this and this are the instructions. Pretty dense reading. Now mind you, I read it. This is the programming instructions, how to program it after it's installed. Pretty dense. So naturally, I started with the installation guide. And let's talk about this installation guide and what it's saying. So if we zoom in here, here is our unit. And I'm going to point out some things here. So this is the supply, the power supply, just to power the unit. Doesn't matter really what the voltage of our battery pack is. It just matters that we provide power to the unit. So this positive is for that. This negative is a shared, we'll call it like a ground, if you will, that both the supply voltage for powering the unit and VM, V monitor I assume, for monitoring the state of our pack, share this negative. So obviously I just said VM is for monitoring the pack. VA is for an auxiliary battery pack, which I don't have, so we're not going to worry about it. And then I plus a negative, that measures, actually it's a shunt voltage across the current shunt. So let's trace this out. So here's my main battery pack here, and I just followed this to the letter. Note that thick lines are for carrying high current, like 300 amps, and thin lines are for carrying very low current, like milliamps, millivolts. So we've got two coming out of the positive. One of them goes directly into the supply side, that again powers the unit, and the second one goes into VM to monitor the voltage of my pack. So that's what I did. I hooked it up just like that. Here on the negative side, we've got the negative comes out here, goes across the shunt, and then we take a wire off this side, minus a very small 50 millivolt. It's basically ground. for negative, and so that goes into the negative side here for both powering the unit and for measuring the voltage of the pack. Okay, so that comes from there. And then the last thing is that we've got these two current measurements. Again, it's really a voltage differential across the shunt here. 50 millivolt shunt, and so I guess the one that's closer to the battery, traction battery, is called I plus, and the one that's further away after the 50 millivolt drop is called I negative, and so those go into I plus and negative there. And then this is for an alarm here, and again, ignore this because we don't have an auxiliary battery. So cool, so I hooked it up exactly like this, and the problem is this unit blew up immediately, started smoking, and made a popping noise. And I hooked it up exactly as it shows in the diagram. And guess what? Even read the warnings here. Shunt must be installed on the negative side. Check. Negative side. What other warning? What warnings? Fuses must be located as close as possible to the battery terminal. I did that. Check. Fuses close to the battery. What else? What other warnings? Thick lines are for main current, high current, handle the first current, in my case 300 amps. Great. Thin lines are for battery monitoring. Use 24 or better wiring. I use Cat5e cable, which is exactly 24 AWG. Avoid errors. Twisted pair. Twist them. And again, I use Cat5e, which is 10 twisted pairs. So no problems there using twisted pair. Great, so what went wrong? Well, mostly these are shitty instructions. So turns out if you go to the master, big ol' honkin' two-sided dents, buried at the end here under technical specifications, supply voltage range, 9 volts to 35 volts. Oh, okay. An input voltage, 2 to 35 volts. Why didn't you say something? Well, why don't you have it called out here in the diagram? Like, hello, 35 volts. Use prescaler. I wrote it in after the fact, after I figured out what happened, but hey, how about something in the warnings here? In English. How about something in the diagram that says, hey, if your battery pack is more than 48, why would you bury it here? This is section 9, the last section before the end, when we talk about declaration of conformity, the second to last section. Why? This is and I'm just not happy at all with TBS and their directions. Horrible directions. Okay, so surprise, you need to buy a voltage prescaler kit. And if you didn't know that, too bad. But if you did know that, then the very first thing it says in the prescaler kit is like, hey, this prescaler helps you if the maximum voltage is greater than 35 volts. Oh, okay. Use a prescaler with an input range of 127 to 175, enabling batteries from 36 volts up to 132 volts. Oh, okay. Why couldn't we have said this in the original installation guide? Huh? What are you guys waiting for? And if you buy the prescaler, you get a new diagram showing how to do it. Okay, so again, here we are. Here is our monitor, our TBS eXpert Pro. Same configuration, minus plus, VM, I negative, I positive. Those 5 are all I need to worry about. Don't worry about VA, A1, A2 for the battery. Okay, so similarly, we've got our twisted pair going into I plus, I minus. Great. What's different then? So we've got our battery here that's greater than 35 volts. Again, thick lines carry 300 amp high current, thin lines carry very low milliamp current. Fuses as close as possible to the battery. And then we've got our prescaler here. From what I can tell, the negative comes out here, goes across the shunt. We pick up the line on the other side, on the bottom side of the shunt, and that goes in, comes out gray, and goes into this shared common negative voltage here for both powering the device and for monitoring your pack voltage. Then these two lines, this is where the magic happens. Brown comes in, goes out. I assume gets pre-scaled. In my case, it's 48 volts. 48 over 5 is what? 9.6. So 9.6 volts goes in to supply our device. Does that fit with is 9 volts, 9.6 in the range? Yes, it is. Great, wonderful. Coming back over here to this one, so similarly 48 goes in. I assume this also gets pre-scaled, and the white line becomes VM. Program this guy to say that it's got a pre-scaler and it will scale up for you. So 9.6 will go in on that side as well. Overall, great. Thanks for the detailed instructions. Should have been a warning on the original instructions. Really disappointed that there isn't, and disappointed that I had to send this unit back and I had to pay for the repair for their crappy instructions. How many other people have experienced this, I wonder? How much money have they made off of this repair? They seem to be very familiar when I called and said, I've got a problem. Oh, we know what the problem is. They were all ready for me, and they got it. They did a diag, figured out what happened. Oh yeah, you overvoltaged it. They repaired it, replaced some chip. And then, why don't they build a fuse into this thing? Just build a fuse right in, knowing that people are probably going to overvoltage it. So frustrating. Okay. And done. Got all those wires hooked up. Just to go over it, brown is our supply voltage. Orange is the negative on the battery pack. White with an orange stripe is monitoring the pack voltage. Then 2 over, white with a blue stripe is the trailing side of the current shunt. And then finally, this solid blue at the end is the leading side of the current shunt. Well, that's all for today, folks. If you found this video helpful, please smash that like button, and more importantly, please subscribe. That's how we make more videos. Until next time, this is Austin EV Only.